Okay, so that's a good point to start. The recording has just started, right? Example 11, Pantum. Okay, this example is on the topic accepting or rejecting orders. Okay? Pantum Limited is considering whether or not to undertake an order from a customer. It is trying to evaluate the relevant cost of the order. Okay, it's trying to evaluate. It's trying to evaluate the relevant cost, establish the relevant cost of the order. Okay, the order will require 3,000 kilos of material W. Okay, there are over 3,000 kilos already held in inventory. Material W is no longer in regular use by the company and could be sold for scrap at 1.5 per kilo. It could also be used as a substitute for material Z, which is in regular use for making another product. Material Z can be purchased for £4 per kilo. To use material W as a substitute for material Z, conversion costs are 1.6 per kilo. Conversion cost of 1.6 per kilo, 1.6 pound per kilo would have to be spent on the material W. 1 kilo of material W after conversion will be a substitute for 1 kilo of material Z. Skilled labor needed to fulfill the order will be specifically recruited for 50,000. Unskilled labor needed to fulfill the order would be transferred from another department. The cost of the labor time is 3,000 hours, would be 30,000 in wages. However, 1,500 of these hours will be idle time if the order is not undertaken. The other 1,500 would be spent on work that would provide a contribution of £5,000. Okay, so let's look at each of the items. We start with materials, and then we move to labor. So the first one is the material. Okay, so the material that we're going to use for this, we've been told, is material W. Okay, and we're going to need 3,000 kilos of material W. Okay, but now it's giving you more information about the material W. Already there are 3,000 kilos held in inventory for material W. Material W is no longer in regular use. Okay, when we look at our flow chart, it is no longer in regular use. Okay, now if it is no longer in regular use, what do we take? We take what? Opportunity cost. And the opportunity costs are this. First choice is what? It could be sold for scrap at 1.5 per kilo. That's the first option. The second option is it could be used as a substitute for material Z, which is in regular use for making another product, another product. Okay, material Z can be purchased for £4. To substitute it, you need extra cost of 1.6. So two options. One, it can be sold for material. It can be sold for scrap at 1.5. And then two, it can be used as a substitute for material Z. Okay, if it's used as a substitute for material Z, it's going to be 4 less 1.6. So if it is used as substitute, it's going to be 2.4. If it is used as scrap, it's going to be what? 1.5. So what's the opportunity cost? Is the higher of the two. The opportunity cost will therefore be 2.4. So that means material W, we are going to consider 3,000 kilos at opportunity cost per kilo of 2.4. Okay, is this clear? Right. The next one is the labor. The full 50,000 that we've been mentioned here, the skilled labor needed to fulfill the order will be specifically recruited. That means this is not out, this is not there. When we look at our flow chart, we need to recruit it from outside. That means everything is relevant. So the whole 50,000 is relevant. So we just bring that in, how to call it, in our calculation, in our relevant cost calculation, okay? So unskilled labor, if you look at unskilled labor, is divided into two, okay? The idle time will be 0, okay? You don't consider idle time, but then the use of order time, which is half of the idle time, you know, everything is costing what? 30,000. This 30,000 is broken down into two. 15,000 is idle time, and the other 15,000 is the use of order department. Right. So that 15,000 will be relevant. And if the work is executed, we are going to lose a contribution of 5,000, and that contribution, loss of contribution, will also be a relevant cost. Okay. So these are some of the costs that we're going to consider when we are taking this decision. Okay, so you summarize on this point. I'm trying to express this so that we can, you know, end it here. I know people are tired. So you can see is on the written part is on the next slide. You will see it, you know, when you receive this, you know, PowerPoint. Okay, so like I said, the first part for material W, we will need 3,000. So we use the, how to call it, 2.4, which will be our relevant cost here. The 2.4 will be the opportunity cost, isn't it? Okay, and then the whole 50,000 we need to take. For that of unskilled is divided into two. We have labor time is, idle time will be 0. The use of other people's time, other departments' time, which is 50%, will be 15,000, and the lost contribution of 5,000. Okay, so let's go and do the solution quickly on our spreadsheet. I just stop this one. I go and present short-term decision making. I just shared it. Okay, so I go example. So I just added a new worksheet. I just call it EG11. EG11. Okay, so example 11, we're going to do our relevant cost statement just like the way we have explained it. Okay, so the notes on the slides will help you to understand. Quantum Limited relevant cost statement. Relevant cost statement. So our relevant cost statement, we're going to start with what? Our material W, isn't it? Are you with me? Our material W, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So from our calculation, our material W, we need 3,000 kg. Okay. At a unit price of what? Our relevant cost per unit, which is what? 2.4. Okay. So multiplied by, we put in bracket 4 minus 1.6. So that you know the 2.4 we're talking about. Okay. Sorry. Sorry. 4 should be minus 1.6. Okay, so that's 7,200. So I just format that. Number formatting, 0 degree. Good. So what is our next, that will come on our relevant cost statement? What will be the next item that will come on our relevant cost statement? Hello? Hello?
Material Z.
Material Z. We have done material Z already. There's only one type of material that will come. That's material W. Material Z Sorry?
I'm saying level.
The skilled
And
level. Okay? There
the
are two
skill
types
level.
of the skill level. Exactly. So we'll start with the skill level first. The skill level. Okay. Our skilled level is 50,000 straight. So we'll just
50,000.
okay. And our unskilled level is divided into two. So I just copy this and I just add UN on it, and I'll change the capital S to small s. Okay. So unskilled level will be divided into two. So I just do a colon. So the first part of the unskilled level is the idle time. We know idle time is the time that is used by employees during working hours without contributing anything to productivity of their employer. Okay, and this is very, very, very common now, especially in the Gambia. This is the time that we spend on our WhatsApp, the time that we spend on our Facebook, the time that we spend on gossiping, moving from one desk to the other. Okay, they cost the organization a lot because your employer is paying you during this time, but then you are not doing anything for the organization. You're just playing about. Okay, so we don't cost it here. Okay, you cannot pass the cost to the customer because it's not a cost.
Like, Peppercorn,
Yes, sir.
like this idle time we're talking about here.
Mhm.
Is it within the control of an employee or it is beyond their control? Because like when there's a power outage, this thing, when the power goes off, in that case, no, they cannot do anything about it. They have to
Yes, yes.
like,
You're right to bring it in. There are two types of idle time. Is controllable idle time and uncontrollable one, because there are some that are beyond, the staff's control. Just like exactly you've rightly said, when there is power outage, when there is machine breakdown. Okay, but lots of idle time in the Gambia is, I mean, how to call it, controllable. You know, people are too idle, at work. They keep gossiping, discussing about people, social media and all these crazy things. Not good at all. Not good at all. So, but there are some that are not the fault of the employee. Good, good. So the next part is the use of other departments' time. So say use of other people's time or other departments' time. Okay. So that's the other half, isn't it? And that half is how much? So that's 15,000. 30,000 divided by 2. Okay. Equals 30,000 divided by 2. So that's 15,000. Okay, and again, when we execute the order, we are going to lose a contribution of 5,000. So loss of contribution will also be a cost. Loss of contribution of 5,000. So our total relevant cost, will be the addition of all this. We can do our sum function, add everything, and that's about 77,200. Okay, so please try and go over this. In exams, if something like this comes, what you do is your answer is not only this simple calculation, but is calculation and explanation, as we have seen on the last slide. Okay, the last slide that I've projected. So you'll calculate, and then you'll do workings. That's working notes for each of them. Okay, if you calculate material W, you have a note here that will explain your calculation. Each of them, even idle time, you need to state why you have it as 0. Okay, so if you just if you just tabulate the answer as it is, you may not get even half of the mark. The explanation is more important. The calculations are not complicated at all. Okay, so you can go through this together with our explanations that we have done in class, and of course, the last slide will help you. Okay, I'm going to share the slides with you. Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, this is the end. This is the end of accounting for short-term decision making. Tomorrow we're going to meet at 3 o'clock. We'll start accounting for long-term decisions. Okay, so your assignments for today were what? Big examples did we do? Example 7, 8. It should be example 10 and 12. Is that the case? No. It's an example on poultry. So assignments, let me just type this clearly. SIGNME. Assignments for today's class, which is 28th of January 2021. Let me just insert this. Okay, one is poultry question. OULTRY, poultry question on break-even analysis. Okay, and what's the second one? The second one is example 12 tricks. EG 12 TRICKS. Okay, so all must be done using your Google Sheet. Okay, using your Google Sheet file on different sheets for each of them, and it must be submitted latest next week, Thursday. Okay. Thursday submission day. Okay, is that clear, everybody? Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir, it is clear.
Huh? What did you say? Sorry.
It is clear.
Okay, you want me to screenshot it, huh? Then I saw it on the forum. Is that what you want? Hello, is that what you want?
Mr. Fofana, you can still do that. It's not a problem.
Yes, okay. Right, so I'm going to share that. Okay, any questions before we wrap up? I want us to wrap up now. Any questions? Any questions? You're fine with today's class?
Sorry, Mr. Fofana.
Yes, Umar, we're going to find you today, huh?
Yes, but later I will try to go through the video. I don't know when you will upload the video on YouTube.
I don't know. It might not be tonight because sometimes I don't have strong internet at the house. Maybe tomorrow morning I'll upload it, inshallah, when I come to the office. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. But I think last class, what we have done, the solution is not yet shared.
Okay, which one? You mean our Google Sheet file?
The solution.
Our Google Sheet file, yeah?
Yes, that one is not yet shared.
Okay, I'll share that tomorrow as well, inshallah. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Hello, Mr. Fofana.
Hello, Rabiatu.
I'm really sorry. Since after Maghrib, my network went away, and I've been trying to log in, but I couldn't. I just came back now, and then the class is over.